Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So on this video today I'm going to give you some big news in regards to the new director of football at Manchester United. Also going to give you some more additional information in regards to David De Gea. But the first topic of the development I will start with is in regards to the director of football and that. So reports were circulated at the media yesterday saying that reportedly Ed Woodward has identified Edwin van der Sar as his number one, candidate, to become Manchester United's to fulfil the director's role at Manchester United. Now we do know that Manchester United been in search for a director of football now for over a year. Obviously, for the majority of the summer, was in search for a director of football, and obviously, I think throughout the course of the summer, Ed Woodward had spoken to some former Manchester United players about roles at the football club. So Ed Woodward, I think, had spoken to Evra. I think he also spoken to the likes of Rio Ferdinand and Darren Fletcher, because obviously throughout the course of the summer, there was linked to, with the role at Manchester United. I think there was also talks of Paul Mitchell, becoming the director of football earlier on in the summer, because obviously, Paul Mitchell is born and bred in Manchester. Obviously, Paul Mitchell, I think, is head of recruitment at RP Leipzig at the moment. I think before he was at RP Leipzig, I think he was head of recruitment at Tottenham. He was also head of recruitment at Southampton, where he actually, worked alongside Pochettino, and there was quite a few names mentioned, who could have taken that director's role, throughout the course of the summer. And I did initially say, we need a director of football in anywhere, because I did say, we need structural change at the football club. But I think Ed Woodward has gone with Edwin van der Sar, because I think Ed Woodward, is going on the experience in that, because obviously, Edwin van der Sar has got that experience. Plus, Edwin van der Sar, knows the traditions of the football club. Don't forget, when Edwin van der Sar was playing football, well, obviously he was a goalkeeper. Obviously, he served 6 years with Manchester United. Van der Sar, obviously, he won 4 Premier League titles with the football club. He won the Champions League with us. He won the League Cup with us and that. Obviously, he didn't only play for Manchester United, though. He did serve 6 years with the club, but obviously before he came to United, obviously, he played for Fulham. He played for Juventus, and of course he did play for Ajax. But now obviously we do know that Edwin van der Sar is currently the chief executive at Ajax. I think he's been the chief executive at Ajax since 2016, and I think Ed Woodward is satisfied with the work and that he's done. But I think Edwin van der Sar coming in, he would be very reliable. I think he would be good overseeing our transfer business. But yeah, reportedly now Ed Woodward has identified, Edwin van der Sar as his number one target, to come in to the football club and that. But he did have 6 good years with Manchester United anyway, did Edwin van der Sar. But I did say anyway, I was disappointed, that we didn't recommend the director of football, earlier on in the summer and that. And, like I did say, we didn't manage to get one in earlier on in the summer. So what we did is we come to a decision, and we basically, just let Ed Woodward, oversee our transfer business for the remainder of the current summer and that. But yeah, so I think Edwin van der Sar, will take, the director's role at Manchester United and that, because obviously I presume that he loves Manchester United a lot. And yeah, so hopefully, this can currently go through in that. But like I did say, I said we needed a director of football in anyway, because I said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needed backing more, throughout the course of summer. And in my opinion, I don't think he got backed enough, throughout the course of summer. Solskjaer did recommend, 3 good, players in to the football club, and it was good that, we did address some of the problematic areas, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. And I didn't, as you say anyway, it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. Obviously, don't forget this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But yeah, we spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire and that. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. So I'm very delighted that we got that experienced centre half, and I'm happy that we got that right back in. But I'm disappointed that we didn't get that midfield in, because that midfield area was one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United needed to strengthen up. Because I've got a lot of element of concerns about our midfield. Don't forget, for the majority of the summer as well, was in search for a right winner. But you know what, we're also in search for the right winner in that. But I think, maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does need a bit more time. Maybe, I think, the board confirmed at the start of the season that, they assured that regardless of what happens this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is set to be back in January and maybe set to be back to next summer. So I definitely, think maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs time, to make a further more investment, because you can still quite frankly say Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad and that. And so we'll give you the latest news now in regard to David De Gea. Now, big breaking news came out about him quite recently. It does reportedly say that David De Gea is on the verge of rejecting a contract offer from Manchester United, and now reportedly, we're at risk of losing David De Gea on a free transfer at the end of the season, because obviously David De Gea's current contract expires at the end of the season. Now, reportedly, it says Juventus are ready to make a move for David De Gea. So we do know, reflecting back earlier on in the summer and throughout pre-season, it was looking very imminent, that David De Gea was going to be signing a new long-term contract, and it was looking very likely he was going to be committing his long-term future with Manchester United. But now all of a sudden there has been a change of scenery in that. So now we do know that the football club have been in negotiations of getting David De Gea a new contract for the last 18 or 19 months or so now. Obviously, we haven't succeeded in contract negotiations, even though despite the fact that it did say at the start of pre-season that, the club had breakthrough in negotiations with David De Gea's agent, George Renders. It actually said throughout pre-season, David De Gea, should have, it said he was going to sign a 6-year contract, worth up to around 375 grand a week, and it was looking very, very imminent. It didn't initially say his contract, should have been announced, when we returned from pre-season, but obviously, this hasn't currently materialised. It hasn't materialised, but it did initially say that David De Gea has agreed, a deal in principle, regarding the new contracts, but he's not yet, signed that new deal as David De Gea. So we could end up, losing him on a free transfer. Like I did say, if we can't get David De Gea a new contract, or we can't convince him to remain at the football club, obviously, we'd rather cash in for him in January, rather than letting go on a free transfer at the end of the season and that. But don't forget, earlier on in the summer, PSG, were in for David De Gea, and at that time, they were regarded as the favourites, to get David De Gea. Don't forget, also Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Real Madrid have been in for him for a number of years now. Obviously, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting David De Gea, but due to a fax machine, of course, the deal never materialised. And also, like I said, Juventus were also in for him, earlier on in the summer. I do believe Manchester United have offered him a deal worth in the region of around £350,000 a week. Obviously, that £350,000 a week figure, obviously, would make David De Gea the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, also making the highest played in the history of the football club. And obviously, for large periods, David De Gea, actually, was demanding around 350 grand a week, to sign a new long-term contract with Manchester United. And obviously, don't forget, for large periods, we was unwilling to meet his wage demands. But then, obviously, early on in the summer, I think it was start of pre-season, it did initially say, we was willing, to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands and that. But David De Gea is very, very imperative at the football club. He's been at Manchester United now 8 years as David De Gea. Obviously now this is his 9th season as a Manchester United player, and you've got to admire, David De Gea. He's had a fantastic career at the football club. I do believe that David De Gea has had 7.5 good years at Manchester United. He's had 7.5 good years at Manchester United and that. He was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season. He was making, goalkeeping howls, but I think that was mainly to do with the contractual situation. And obviously made a mistake early on in the season against Crystal Palace in that 2-1 defeat and that. But I still say David De Gea, is regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Like I said, he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we paid around £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid. But obviously David De Gea has won everything here domestically. He's made over 300 other appearances for the club in all competitions. He's won the club's Player of the Year like 4 times out of 6 seasons. I think out of the last 6 seasons, reflecting on his impressive performances. And David De Gea, you know, still got a lot of development in him. You know, he's 28 years of age, so I'd still say he's got at least around 3 or 4 years left in him. But, you know, if David De Gea does leave the football club, I did initially say, you know, we are going to definitely, you know, need a replacement for him and that. We have got quite a few goalkeepers in our agenda, you know, who could replace David De Gea at the football club. Reportedly, we've identified Jan Blanc from Atletico Madrid as our #1 priority target to replace David De Gea. But don't forget, we was in for Jan Blanc earlier on in the summer. It did initially say that Jan Blanc has got around £100 million buyout clause. Obviously, he signed a new contract, I think, in April this year, did Jan Blanc. And Jan Blanc is regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You know, I won't put him on the same level or calibre as David De Gea and that. Obviously, you know, Jan Blanc, you know, is good at keeping clean sheets, doesn't leak a lot of goals, as that was proven last season. I think last season it was only Liverpool's Alisson that kept more clean sheets than Jan Blanc. Jan Blanc, I think now is in his 6th season at Atletico Madrid, and that obviously he's never actually, you know, been in the Premier League as Jan Blanc. I think he's like just a year or 2 years younger than David De Gea. But reportedly, you know, we've identified him as our #1 target. Obviously, we've instructed scouts to keep a close eye out on him. It reportedly said as well that we've you know, instructed scouts, you know, to keep a close eye out on, you know, Dominik Ligovic from, you know, Dynamo Zagreb. He's another goalkeeper on our agenda. But if David De Gea leaves the football club, you know, we're definitely going to need a replacement for him, because I did initially say David De Gea at full value, he's worth around £100 million. He's definitely worth around £100 million, is David De Gea. But obviously, you know, he's got under a year left on his contract. You know, we're not going to get anywhere near £100 million. But if we could cash in for De Gea in January, we could maybe still get around 25 or 30 million pounds for him and that. But, you know, we've definitely got to get a replacement, because obviously, you know, we've got Sergio Romero. Sergio Romero's under contract with the club until 2021 with an option of a further 12 months. And obviously, Sergio Romero, I'll praise him. I thought he did well in the FA Cup games last season. But obviously, Romero is our second choice goalkeeper. You know, he isn't, you know, reliable enough, you know, to become our #1 goalkeeper. He's Sergio Romero. Obviously, you know, Lee Grant's injured. Dean Enson's obviously, you know, gone back out on loan to Sheffield United, and I think that's good. In that aspect, that's good business from the football club. You know, putting him back out on loan, because obviously it'll gain, you know, Dean Enson more experience in that. So that's a very, very good business from the football club. And of course, Joel Pereira's gone out on long season loan, you know, with Hearts in Scotland. So yeah, it's very imperative if David De Gea leaves that we, you know, we get a replacement for him. But David De Gea has told his friends he will snub any offer from Manchester United. So I think he wants out of the football club, and obviously if we're not, you know, competing for the top 4 by, you know, Christmas or the New Year, obviously David De Gea, you know, will want out of the football club anywhere. He'll want out of the football club anywhere. But yeah, so that's the latest news in regards to David De Gea. It came out the other week saying that, you know, we could risk, you know, losing him in January and that. But I'd actually, you know, if we had to lose him, I'd obviously rather lose him in January, so we can actually, you know, cash in something for him rather than letting go on a free transfer at the end of the season and that. But like I did initially say, you know, we've endured a very, very difficult start to this season. You know, we've endured a difficult start to this season. You know, we've only registered, you know, 5 points from a possible 12 in our opening 4 games. So we've only won 1, we've drawn 2, and we've lost 1 in that. And, you know, you can quite frankly say, you know, we haven't played particularly really bad. You know, the performances, you know, definitely need to improve. But as Gary Neville, you know, was recently speaking, well, Gary Neville gave his overarching view on Manchester United, you know, quite recently. And he believes that, you know, Manchester United are on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And, you know, he believes that, like, the style of play seems to be right. You know, we're playing the right way and that. But we're just not being clinical enough in front of goal. And this is what Gary Neville was mentioning. You know, we haven't got that clinical element and that. And this justifies, you know, why we're not scoring enough goals. This is why, and so far this season, you know, what I've seen, you know, is replicating of what I saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, you know, we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League last season. You know, we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season for the first time in 4 decades. And so far, you know, what I'm seeing this season, it's replicating, you know, last season. Last season was absolutely disappointing in that, you know, we finished 6th, you know, we finished 32 points behind Manchester City. You know, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And I did say in that aspect, that went against us in the summer transfer window of getting all our number one targets, because obviously I did say certain players at a certain calibre and level, would have had reservations about joining the football club, because obviously we're not in Champions League football. We've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League, 3 times out of the 6 seasons since the Alex Ferguson era. But I said, if we do continue, with this bad run of form, if we do continue with this bad run of form, I think we're going to enjoy a worse season this season than, of course, of what we saw last season. Obviously the pressure will continue, mounting up on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And I did say, I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. I think, I don't think the football club, will sack him yet. I think they're going to give him a bit more time, that maybe to invest in January or perhaps next summer. But I did say, the majority of the players, we was in for throughout the course of the summer, who we didn't manage to get. I believe, we will reignite our interest in them in the January transfer window. Maybe some of them perhaps next summer. But yeah, we've definitely got to get a midfielder in, in the January transfer window, and that definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. But like I did say, we haven't, got the structure to keep sacking managers. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, since the Alex Ferguson era. And don't forget, already 3 managers have been sacked from the football club. And obviously, I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot anyway. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. And, there's another element of concern I've got about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, he hasn't really got the experience of a manager, not really to the highest level. Solskjaer, did well in his first 3 months as interim manager at the club last season. In his first 3 months, he exceeded expectation levels. The results and that are really, really good. And it's just seemed to me, since he got the job permanently in March early on this year, it's just basically seemed to have all gone wrong. So obviously we didn't replicate what we did in that 3-month period, whilst Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. Also, Solskjaer won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. He only had a short tenure with Cardiff before that. He didn't really work out for him at Cardiff. But like I said, if we're not competing for the top 4 by the new year, then possibly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could be sacked by the football club. But like I did say to you on my recent videos, obviously, what will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, next signings be? That is the big question. That what will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signings be? Obviously, Solskjaer, will he want to continue getting the pursuit of young homegrown players? Obviously, Solskjaer worked out his transfer strategy earlier on in the summer, and he did initially say, he wanted to recommend a number of young, upcoming British players and that to the football club. But the one good thing is, that, I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the assets that, he's got a lot of trust with in his young upcoming players. Because obviously there is a lot of young upcoming players in the squad that are developing and, trying to improve, as I mentioned, quite recently to you all. And there's recently, there's good news that's come out in regards to Mason Greenwood and, Chong. Obviously, with Mason Greenwood, he's been assured more opportunities this season, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually confirmed at the start of this season. Obviously, Greenwood, should get given the start against Leicester after the international break. Mason Greenwood has not yet started the game from the start for Manchester United, so he hasn't played a full 90 minutes yet this season. He has made 4 substitute appearances so far this season. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, has recently, become infuriated, with like Rashford's recent performances and that. So I think in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is considering giving Mason Greenwood more of a prominent role at the football club. But Mason Greenwood is only 17 years of age. We see all glimpses of how good he is, throughout pre-season. He did well for the under-18s, under-18s, under-21s and under-19s, last season. Scored 30 goals in 29 games. And actually, Mason Greenwood, was the best player against Cardiff on the last game of last season in that 2-0 defeat, where actually, Mason Greenwood had made his full debut, but definitely needs to get given the chance from the start, Mason Greenwood. In regards to Chon, I do believe that Chon is in discussions with the football club over a new contract. Obviously, Chon had rejected the chance, to go out on loan away from Manchester United. Reportedly, had received loan offers from PSV and his former club, Feyenoord. But reportedly, Chon wants to remain at Manchester United and he wants to commit his long-term future with Manchester United. Now, reportedly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has told Chon, that he will get first team chances at Manchester United, but reportedly to gain them first team opportunities, Chon and that's got to work hard, because Chon has obviously yet to make an appearance in the Premier League this season for Manchester United. Chon did play throughout pre-season again, was quite impressive. Chon, don't forget, it was only last season that he made his debut for Manchester United. He made his competitive debut in the game against Reading in the FA Cup back in January, which was obviously Man United won 2-0. Obviously, he made his Premier League debut in the 3-2 win over Southampton. It wasn't his full Premier League debut because obviously, he came on as a substitute in that particular game, and obviously made his Champions League debut in the 3-1 win against PSG again. Came off the bench. But Chong is only 19 years of age. He's only managed 4 first team appearances, since his arrival from Feyenoord back in 2016. So I think this is now all in all Chong's 4th season at Manchester United. So yeah, it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got a lot of trust with his young players. But I thought the young players, that played throughout pre-season anyway, were a fruition, and I did say, they can become a fruition this season, can the young upcoming players. With Angel Gomez, don't forget, we have got him as well. I'm surprised, he didn't get given the chance against Southampton. Angel Gomez, obviously, I did initially say, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. I initially said as well, that Alex Tuanzebe, I do believe, he should be a big part of the squad this season. And obviously, it was good that he was loaned out last season, because in that aspect it gained him more experience. And I thought last season he was good on his loan spell with Aston Villa. Jimmy Garner, obviously, I think he played a couple of games, throughout pre-season. Obviously, he's another one of the upcoming players in that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes, despite the departure of Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku, he believes, we're not short of options in that attacking line and that. I do believe we look I think there's slight improvements. We look slightly better in that attacking third of the pitch, because we have now got that pace up front, and that pace is obviously, something the club lacked last season, But I'll praise Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He brought 3 good players into the football club. I think that, like I said, Daniel James has had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. With Daniel James, I still say he's a prospect and needs time to develop. And there is improvements needed in his game. But I think he's had a fantastic start to his Man United career. He's already scored 3 goals so far this season. Obviously, we do know that Daniel James, can play on each flank. But I think so far this season, we've actually mainly, started Daniel James on the right, even though he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. But, Daniel James taken a huge step in his career, coming all the way from the Championship, to the Premier League and that, at the time, we confirmed the signing of Daniel James. I had some, I was actually, sceptical about him, because, there was some, good things about him. His pace, and that's really, really good. He's good at cutting in from the flank, but obviously he's not really, really good at tracking back and that. And I did initially say at the time, has he got the minerals, to succeed to the highest level in the Premier League and that? And so far, he's proven how good, he is, Daniel James. So I have, been really, really impressed with him. And yeah, like I said, he's only 21 years of age. I think Al-Mamsaka, he's had a fantastic start to his Man United career. His defensive abilities are good, his distribution, that's good. And so far, of Al-Mamsaka, at Man United, he's replicating, what he did last season with Crystal Palace. Because don't forget, Al-Mamsaka, only made his senior debut back in February 2018 for Crystal Palace. I think we got him for initially £45 million with 15 million in add-ons, which should potentially rise it up to around £60 million. But yeah, he's done really, really well so far. And with Harry Maguire, obviously Harry Maguire is a bit more experienced, because obviously he's 26 years of age. I think he's had a pretty decent start to his Man United career, and I think I can quite frankly say, I think he's addressed our defensive deficiencies, even though we do seem to be conceding goals and that. But we do definitely know, the 3 signings we got, and it's not enough. Basically, we need more than that. And Solskjaer said at the start of the summer, basically, he wanted to recommend at least 5 new additions and that to the squad. But despite our poor start to the season, I still believe that there is some players, that have performed quite well. Like I said, Daniel James performed well, Bissaka's performed well, Harry Maguire's performed well. I think Martial's been fantastic as well. Obviously, before picked up that thigh injury, Martial's performed really, really well. I think he scored 2 goals so far this season as Anthony Martial. And I think, Anthony Martial has not yet quite, emulated to that level. But he's only 23 years of age. He has still got a lot of development in him. Anthony Martial has scored 50 goals for the football club. He scored his 50th goal against Wolves earlier on in the season. Anthony Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player, and I think he's had a good start this season. He was also good throughout pre-season. Obviously, he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still said at that present time, he's still the long-term solution for Manchester United. Now, we do know Martial's been subjected to quite a bit of transfer speculation in the past. Obviously early on in the summer there was talks about him possibly leaving the football club because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was infuriated with him at one point. Also back under the Jose Mourinho era, he obviously wanted to get rid of Anthony Martial and that. But he's a very, very imperative player for the football club, is Anthony Martial, and obviously of what I've seen so far this season of how he's performed, I think he's replicating what he did in his debut season at the football club, because I thought Martial was good in his debut season at the football club. This was back under Louis van Gaal era. Obviously we got Martial for around £36 million, but I think it rises up to around 57 or 58 million, based on goals and achievements. But I think he scored 17 goals, Martial, in his debut season. But it got confirmed at the start of the season anyway that Martial had been handed that number 9 shirt, reflecting on his impressive performances. And obviously he's being given that number 9 shirt because he seems to be more effective in that central position, as that got proven, throughout pre-season. But obviously Martial, don't forget, got a 5-year deal back in January. And that was good business from the football club, and he's on a substantial amount now. I do believe Martial is on around £200,000 a week. But at the moment he's currently out with thigh injury, so obviously Martial didn't play against Southampton. So obviously we do know Marcus Rashford had fulfilled Martial's role in the 1-1 draw last week with Southampton. The other week should I say, he fulfilled Anthony Martial's role, and Rashford was a huge disappointment in that game, and I think he got a lot of criticism from the vast majority of Manchester United fans, reflecting on his poor performance, Rashford. Now, Rashford, I still believe, is the long-term solution for Manchester United. To be quite honest with you, at this moment in time, I don't know what Rashford's preferred position is in that, because he can play centrally, he can obviously play out wide. I probably believe Rashford will play more on the flank this season, because Rashford was very disappointing in that central role against Southampton. Didn't latch on to any of them crosses. His finishing was poor. He looked so isolated in that central position. So this is another main factor reason why, obviously, I want Anthony Martial, to regain full fitness for the game against Leicester and that. But like I said, Solskjaer's become infuriated with Rashford, and this is why, he's considering giving Mason Greenwood, more chances in that. We've seen Martial and Rashford, handed the number 9, role so far this season. So I think it could be, Mason Greenwood's opportunity now. But Rashford, obviously, don't forget, he got a new contract earlier on in the season. He signed a 4-year contract, was it, or something like that. And obviously he's on over 200 odd grand a week and that. And I think prior to his performance against Southampton, I don't think Rashford's had too much of a bad start out of the season. I thought he did well in the first couple of games. He was fantastic against Chelsea. Obviously, scored 2 goals. Did Rashford, but he is, don't forget, only 21 years of age. I think, to be fair, I'll credit McTominay. I think he's had a pretty decent start to this season. Don't get me wrong, I still don't know if he is the long-term solution for Manchester United, Scott McTominay and that. So in that aspect, I've got concerns. But, Scott McTominay's done well so far this season. He did well throughout pre-season. And to be fair, I think he's blended in well alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield so far this season, because mainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has gone with, McTominay and Pogba, mainly in our midfield so far this season. Obviously, McTominay's still got a lot of development in, but when he's at his best, McTominay, he's good at playing between the lines, his defensive abilities and that are really, really good. But I still don't know if he's reliable in terms of the long-term future, if he's reliable enough. But I think he's doing really, really well, and he did well towards the back end of last season, did McTominay. About the thoughts I've got about McTominay, I've got the same thoughts about Fred and Andres Pereira. I don't know if they're the long-term solutions for Man United. My overarching view on Fred is that, obviously, Fred was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he hasn't really performed to the same sort of level at Manchester United. He's been mainly inconsistent for Man United. Fred did well towards the back end of last season and that. Fred, I thought, did okay in the games he did participate throughout pre-season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did initially say he expects to see better things from Fred this season. But don't get me wrong, I think Fred, Pereira or McTominay, either one of them, are better solutions than the Nemanja Matic, because the Nemanja Matic is too inconsistent. He makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced and that. And Matic isn't getting any younger. Of course, he's aging up and that. I don't think he's no longer first choice now. Matic actually was first choice last season. But yeah, he's too inconsistent now. So we definitely have got to address that midfield in January without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, we have got quite a few injury, concerns, and obviously, this is more headaches for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. Obviously, we do know that it recently got confirmed that Jesse Lingard is ill. He's not injured, but he's got some kind of illness. This is why he obviously had to withdraw from the England squad earlier on this week. So he obviously was sent back to Manchester United from England because he was still too ill to participate. But I think Jesse Lingard, should be ready for the game against Leicester after the international break. Jesse Lingard, he's been poor so far this season. Jesse Lingard was also poor in the last couple of months of last season, and Jesse Lingard's performances, definitely need to improve. I still believe he is the long-term solution for Manchester United. Obviously, Lingard's first choice over Juan Mata and that, but he's had a poor start to this season, but he's obviously been ill recently. But I think he should be okay for the game against Leicester. As you all know, Wan-Bissaka, he also had to withdraw from the England squad earlier on this week. Obviously, last week now, should I say, due to a back injury he had sustained. He did initially say that Wan-Bissaka had returned to Old Trafford for treatment. He did initially say he will be monitored in the next few days and that. But I don't know how severe, the injury is, the back injury is. So I don't know if he will be participating in the game against Leicester. I'm hopefully can participate in the game against Leicester because he's a very, very imperative player, and that obviously he's our first choice right back. And obviously, if he isn't fit enough, to play against Leicester, obviously we've got backup options. We've got Young as a backup. We've obviously, got Dalot as a backup. I think obviously Diego Dalot's recently been out of injury, but I think he did confirm he should be definitely fully fit for the game against Leicester. So obviously they're the backup options to Wan-Bissaka and that. But I'm hopeful Wan-Bissaka can regain full fitness. Obviously, we know that Luke Shaw is out with a hamstring injury. I doubt that he will be playing against Leicester because I think it did initially say he could be out for up to a month with his hamstring problem, and it is a disappointment. And Luke Shaw is a very imperative player. I think before he sustained this injury, I thought he's had a pretty average start to the season. But I think for the majority of his Manchester United career, I think Luke Shaw has done very, very well. He's a very, very reliable player on that left hand side, and he's still got a lot of development in him. I thought he was good last season. Luke Shaw, reflecting on his impressive performances, he won at the double player of the season, did Luke Shaw and that. But like I said, when he's on form, he's good at darting forward, he's good at making them overlapping runs, he's good at feeding players ahead of him, and that is Luke Shaw. And this is the reason why obviously Ashley Young played at left back against Southampton the other week, because obviously due to Luke Shaw's absence, obviously Ashley Young was actually captaining the team. But Luke Shaw reportedly could be back sometime at the mid-September. He could be back this month or early October. He should regain full fitness. I'll be surprised if Luke Shaw plays against Leicester. Obviously, like I said, Martial's out with a thigh injury. I think he actually should be fully fit for the game against Leicester. We know Lee Grant's out with injury. Fosu Mensah's long-term absence. Obviously, I think Fosu Mensah has got is it a ligament damage or something like that? I think he actually sustained this injury whilst he was on loan with Fulham last season. I think before he was on loan with Fulham last season, he was on loan with Crystal Palace before that. So yeah, in that aspect, it's good because obviously he's getting more experience now as Fosu Mensah, but he's a long-term absence. Eric Bailly, of course, is out with a knee injury. As you all know, he's out until I think the new year. He sustained this injury, throughout pre-season. I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career anywhere has been mainly affected, with the amount of injuries he had sustained. Not only that, I think also, with his fallout under Manchester, it has really taken its toll on Eric Bailly, to be quite honest. Obviously, he's now into his fourth season as a Manchester United player. And like I said, he has got great potential. He holds his line really well when he's fully fit. I think maybe in January or next summer, the club would orchestrate on, selling Eric Bailly. The club probably would consider it, if we could, recoup the money that we did pay. We'd probably demand to at least recoup the money that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Obviously, the news in regards to Paul Pogba, a bit more additional information was updated about him. Reportedly, Paul Pogba stayed at Manchester United this summer because of Adidas. They intervened, and reportedly, they stopped Paul Pogba making his move to Real Madrid this summer. And reportedly, Adidas wanted Paul Pogba anywhere to stay at the football club because they believe it's better for them commercially. So reportedly, Adidas could have had a part to play in, Paul Pogba, staying at Manchester United and that. So thank you, Adidas, if that is to be true. So we do know that obviously last week as well, Paul Pogba had withdrawn from the France squad. Obviously after he sustained an ankle injury. He actually sustained this ankle injury in the 1-1 draw with Southampton the other week. He didn't actually say last week that Paul Pogba, was set to undergo a scan, to investigate the extent of the damage. But I think I actually believe that Paul Pogba, should regain full fitness for the game against Leicester. So this is what it basically said. Recent reports have indicated out that Ed Woodward has held negotiations. Ed Woodward has held negotiations with Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola in regards to getting Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the football club. Now I do believe that Paul Pogba's plans for the future is still to probably make a move to Real Madrid. And I do believe if the only way that I think Paul Pogba, would commit his long-term future in Manchester United and sign a new long-term contract is if, we're willing to give him a massive wage increase. So I do believe Paul Pogba probably would demand, to be the highest paid player at the football club if he was to sign a new long-term contract. At an estimated guess, I do believe Pogba would demand probably around maybe 400 grand a week, maybe even £500,000 a week, to commit his long-term future at Man United. Paul Pogba at the moment has got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United with an option to extend it by a further year, and he's on a substantial amount now as we speak. He's just on under 300 grand a week at Manchester United at this moment in time. But we do know for the entirety of the summer, he was obviously he had a long running transfer saga. He was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. But obviously, his move to Real Madrid never materialised. And I think Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, have obviously become infuriated about this, because obviously Zinedine Zidane identified Paul Pogba as his number one target, and that he identified Paul Pogba as his number one target. And obviously, Real Madrid spent a substantial amount, throughout the course of the summer. I do believe, they spent around £300 million on 5 players, was it? They sold some players, so Real Madrid, did generate some of the money back and that. But I did say the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Man United this summer obviously was reflecting on the substantial amount, we put on him basically, because obviously we was adamant he wasn't for sale, but, we did quote out that we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba. So that's a lot of money, and, basically we're demanding just over double there than what we paid for him from Juventus, back in 2016, because obviously, we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba back in 2016. He's obviously, our most expensive signing and that. But yeah, his first choice preference was Real Madrid, and his likely destination was Real Madrid. And I know there was possible talks about him making a return back to Turin earlier on in the summer. Obviously, Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin, but he hasn't, with Juventus, but hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. I think Paul Pogba, has obviously had a pretty decent start to this season. He started all 4 of Manchester United's Premier League games so far this season. I thought it was pretty poor against Southampton, as Solskjaer was explaining, and he also missed a penalty earlier on in the season against Wolves, and obviously, with his penalty missing that, Paul Pogba, received a lot of criticism, and obviously he'd been subjected to online racial abuse, following that penalty miss, and I think I'll credit him in that aspect. I thought, Paul Pogba, handled the situation, quite well. But I still believe Paul Pogba's plans for the future is a move to Real Madrid, so we do know now, though, that Paul Pogba staying at the football club at least until January, which is very, very good news. But Paul Pogba confirmed earlier on in the summer, he said he wanted to leave Manchester United. He said he was seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club and that, because obviously he wanted to leave, to rejuvenate his career. But I did, But I did give you the reasons, why Paul Pogba wants to leave the football club, because obviously maybe he's frustrated with lack of competitiveness, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football, maybe he feels as though he isn't, playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United, so maybe these are the reasons why he still wants out of the football club and that, Paul Pogba. But like I did say, Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is, and Solskjaer spoken, to Paul Pogba earlier on in the summer, throughout pre-season, and he actually spoken about Paul Pogba and that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows deep down how much an imperative player he is, and that we know the difference he does make in that midfield, because we have seen, Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player, and when he's at his best, he's like 2 players in one. He's like 2 players in one. He's Paul Pogba when he's at his best. He can score them goals. He can provide assists. We mainly see the best of Paul Pogba, when he is freed up. But Paul Pogba's stats were very impressive last season. He scored 16 goals and provided 11 assists in 47 games in all competitions. But yeah, he's only 26 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development minimum as Paul Pogba. But the club throughout the course of summer anyway, basically, didn't want to sell him. Paul Pogba, the football club, has won the Europa League and the League Cup. That came in his second season, don't forget, with Manchester United. But like I said, it hasn't only been this summer that Paul Pogba's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Reflecting back last summer, he was subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. There was talks about him going back to Juventus. I think there was even talks about him going to Barcelona in January, because he was obviously, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, and obviously Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, when Jose Mourinho left the football club and that. And obviously Paul Pogba's also a World Cup winner, but Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he for the entirety of the summer basically tried getting Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid, completed, and he actually said at the start of pre-season, that Paul Pogba, was in the process of leaving the football club. But I'm happy anyway that we've convinced him to stay at the football club for now, because it's very, very essential that we kept him at the football club, especially with our failure to land a midfielder in. But it's a shame that we didn't get a midfielder in, someone, that could have played alongside Paul Pogba and that in our midfield. But yeah, Paul Pogba, should regain full fitness, for the game against Leicester. But, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, quite a lot of players now have departed the football club. But even though quite a lot have now departed, I still believe in January and next summer, we still need to orchestrate on getting rid of a couple of more players, because I still think there's players here now that are no longer good enough, to represent the football club. And obviously we know that a couple of more players need to be brought into the football club in January or next summer. But we've seen obviously Antonio Valencia leave at the end of last season, after he served 10 years there with Manchester United. Obviously, we've loaned a few players out. Chris Smalling's obviously, went out on loan to Roma. Obviously, Roma paid around just under £3 million to get him out on loan. Don't forget, it is without a buy option, or there's no obligation to buy for Roma to make the deal permanent at the end of the loan, so possibly could return to Man United afterwards. Smalling served 9 years at Manchester United. He served a decade at the football club. But despite Smalling going out on loan, we have still got 6 centre backs in the team. Don't forget. Obviously, you've got Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. That's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. And obviously with Marcus Rojo, we know he's definitely staying at the football club for now anyway. Solskjaer confirmed this, prior to the Southampton game. Rojo was subjected to quite a lot of transfer speculation, throughout the course of the summer. Everton inquired about getting him on deadline day, don't forget. Also Marcel and Monaco and AC Milan inquired about getting him. But I think we need to orchestrate on getting rid of Rojo maybe in January or next summer, due to that, he doesn't really get the chance. I think he's injury prone as well. He's sustained a few injuries as a Man United player. He's now 29 years of age, just under 2 years left on his contract term is Rojo. But I think this is now his 5th season anyway as a Man United player. He's predominantly a central defender, Rojo, but he can play in, as a left back and a wing back, so his versatility is good in that back line. Like I said, we know Darmian left the football club as well. Don't forget, he left the football club last week. He joined Parma for just over £3 million. I think in that aspect, it was good business for Man United, getting rid of Darmian. It was no surprise that Darmian left the football club, but I'm just surprised how much we let him go for, basically. We paid £12.7 million, I think, was it, for him from Torino back in 2015. He served around 4 years at the football club, did Darmian, and then we basically let him go for just over £3 million. So, and in that, we've lost out on around £9.1 million, so that's bad business from the football club, but we're well known for doing it. We overplay for players, then when it comes to them going, we let them go for next to nothing, basically. So in that aspect, that's really bad business from the football club. But I'm glad Darmian's gone anyway, because he was served his 2 requirements at the football club. Under Herrera, Marion Fellaini there. Under Herrera and Fellaini left. Herrera left early on this summer after he served 5 or 6 good years there with Manchester United. No, it was 5 years under Herrera had with Manchester United. It was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for him, because the initial plan was to obviously keep Paul Pogba, which you have, but the plan was throughout the course of summer to get 2 midfielders in that can actually replace Herrera and Marion Fellaini in that. But there were 2 long-serving players. Herrera served 5 years at the club. Fellaini served 6 years at the football club. Lukaku left the football club again. We didn't recruit a replacement for him. Maybe some people say we need a replacement for him. Maybe some people say we don't need a replacement for him. It was good that we generated, a substantial amount for Lukaku. It was good that, we did recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. So I was happy about that. Sanchez has obviously, gone out on loan to Inter Milan. like I said, Dean Enson's gone back out on loan to Sheffield United, so now quite a few players have left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that, but I still believe there's more players that do need to leave the football club. I think Rojo needs to definitely go, even Phil Jones definitely needs to go, he's been long serving here, he's been here. Jones has been at Manchester United now 8 years, he's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Don't forget the club gave him a new long-term contract last season. Yeah, I think he needs to go in January or next summer. Ashley Young, with Ashley Young, I do believe this could be his last season as a Manchester United player. I think he'll probably I think he could retire from football at the end of the season. Obviously, reflecting on his age, he is now 34 years of age. Obviously, next year, Ashley Young, will be. Is it next year? Is he 35 years of age and that? Ashley Young's been here 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, was our first choice right back last season. Obviously, he's no longer first choice because obviously, following the arrival of Wan-Bissaka, but I think this should be Young's last season as a Manchester United player and that. But like I did say at the start of the season, our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top 4, and obviously we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations and that. And I did initially say analysing our squad at the moment, isn't good enough, to win the league or challenge for the league, and I don't think we'll win the league at least in the next 2 to 3 years. And that obviously, we haven't won the league, since 2013. Obviously, that was in Alex Ferguson's last season, so that's over 6 years ago now. And you can say, quite frankly, Robin van Persie, won his third league last season, reflecting on the amount of goals and that he scored. But I think analysing our squad as it stands now, I think it's definitely good enough for a top four finish. I did initially say our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons and that. But I did say with the dimension and the history of this football club, we should be up there competing and of course winning Super. And we haven't managed to do that in the last 6 or 7 years. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously, wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club. Obviously, wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club. But I think there's a lot of people that have got huge doubts that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will be able to bring that fear factor back to Man United, because that fear factor hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money. Has been spent at the football club, over the years and that. Since the Alex Ferguson era, a lot of money's been invested into the football club. Over £140 million has been spent this summer under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just under £400 million was spent under Mourinho. Over £200 million was spent under Louis van Gaal. Just around £67 million was spent under David Moyes. So I think it's nearly like £900 million we spent in the last 6 years. So we spent just under £1 billion. If you want to take into account what we spent under Ferguson, way over £1 billion has been spent in the football club. But always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success, and that's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 years or so now. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the majority of this squad's not his. He's still inheriting 10 of Jose Mourinho's players. Sorry, recommended 11 in, but Lukaku left. Obviously. Obviously, he's still inheriting, players here from Louis van Gaal era. The vast majority of the players now from Louis van Gaal era are not here, but there's still some of them here now, and they're still inheriting matter here from the David Moyes era, and there's still players here, don't forget from the Alex Ferguson era and that. But I just want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to get us back to being a competitive elite level football club. But I did say, regardless who our manager is, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson and that. And I did say I'm hopeful that this team this day and age, can replicate, what the team did back under the Alex Ferguson era. But I have got huge doubts about that, and I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years. So I've also been frustrated with the lack of silverware. We didn't win out under the Moyes era. We won't manage to win the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. We won the Europa League and League Cup in in Jose Mourinho's first season. That, for me, that isn't enough. For a club like Manchester United and that. We should be challenging for more than that. But last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Like last season, was a similar sort of, season, to how we had under David Moyes, because, we actually finished 7th under the David Moyes era, and I think that's the lowest we've finished of what I know anywhere. But yeah. But like I said, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is actually, to be sacked by the football club, who would you recommend in? Don't forget, before we actually, appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, don't forget, was in from Mauricio Pochettino for a long time. Don't forget, we inquired about getting, Zinedine Zidane. But I believe, them managers, only would have come into Manchester United, obviously, if we was willing to give them a substantial amount of money to spend in that. And I do believe, throughout the course of summer, Solskjaer did get a substantial amount. He reportedly said, that he had been given around £200 million, to spend on players and that. But obviously, just didn't get all our number one types. With Pochettino, would you take him at Manchester United, if we had that opportunity? Obviously, at the time we was in for Pochettino, obviously, he said we'd have had to pay to get him in, we'd have to pay around 35 or 40 million pounds or something like that to get him into the football club. And obviously, Pochettino is more experienced than Solskjaer, he's well Premier League through his Pochettino, he's now into his 6th season as manager of Tottenham and that. But Pochettino's not yet got that proven pedigree of winning any silverware. So there's an element of concern there. And obviously, Pochettino's expectations with Tottenham is to obviously, win some silverware. Tottenham did well last season, they got to their first ever Champions League final, and they have got some great players in that of Tottenham. But like I said at the time, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, Neville was saying that Pochettino would have been the right candidate for Manchester United. He's good at developing young players. His philosophy, and that seems to be good. But obviously, we went with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over Pochettino, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the traditions of the football club. Pochettino doesn't. Obviously, Solskjaer obviously was a cheaper solution as well. We only paid around £8 million to get him from Malden. We only paid about a couple of million to get him as interim. Then we paid about 7 or 8 million, to get him the job permanently and all that. Don't forget we went in for Zinedine Zidane at the time. Obviously I think we went in for Zinedine Zidane. Obviously don't forget at one point he was managerless for 9 months before he obviously returned back to Real Madrid and that. But I'd love to know who would you recommend in if Solskjaer was to leave the football club. Obviously Neville also believes that Neville also believes that Solskjaer could maybe emulate into like a Jurgen Klopp, because analysing Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, he's done a really good job. To be fair, I've got to be honest. Obviously he's been at Liverpool now quite a few years. He didn't win out in his first few years there with Liverpool and that, and struggled with Liverpool at the first, to be quite in all honesty. But Liverpool, he obviously won his first major honour with Liverpool last season by winning the Champions League and that. And Jurgen Klopp's now doing a really good job. Liverpool invested well. Don't forget in the last couple of windows they didn't sign anyone in the summer, but they in the other windows, they bought some good players. They addressed their defensive deficiencies with the signing of Virgil van Dijk. They got a good goalkeeper, for Wellington and that. And Liverpool's obviously expectations will be to win the league. They haven't won the league of Liverpool, the Premier League. They've never won the Premier League, so obviously they want to win the Premier League of Liverpool. And so, like I said, I'll back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. He's at Man United and that, and just hopefully we can get back to winning ways after the international break. That's all we can, basically hope for and that. But Leicester's going to be a tough encounter. Leicester have had a pretty decent start this season. They're sitting third at the moment. They did some good investment throughout the course of the summer. They spent around £90 million, did Leicester, on players. I think it was around £90 million, that they spent Leicester. I think that's an estimate. I guess it's somewhere in the region of £90 million. They got Perez in, they got Yori Tillemans in, who they paid a club record fee for around £40 million. They got Dennis Pryor in from Sampdoria. I think they also got James Justin in from Luton. So Leicester, did some good investment, and Leicester so far have registered 8 points from a possible 12 in their last 4 league games. So they've won 2, they've drawn 2, and that, they're in the next round in the Carabao Cup, Leicester, because they did knock Newcastle out. But it is at Old Trafford. It should be a game that Man United should win, because we've usually got a good winning record against Leicester. But we need to start improving this season. We need to start getting good results. We need to start scoring more goals. We need to see more leadership and that in the team. And we're sitting 8th in the league at the moment, and that is obviously now a huge disappointment. But yeah, so the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Edwin van der Sar, becoming the new director of football at Man United. He hasn't been confirmed as yet, but reportedly Ed Woodward has identified Edwin van der Sar as his number 1 priority target to become the director of football at Manchester United. Like I said, we've been in search for a director of football for over a year. Don't forget there was quite a few names mentioned early on in the summer who could have taken that director's role, because Solskjaer Ed Woodward had spoken to the likes of former United players. He's spoken to every Ferdinand and Darren Fletcher and that about, roles at the football club. But we need to get a director of football in anyway. And I think Edwin van der Sar would be good because, like I said, he's got that experience. Like Ed Woodward, he's basically going on the experience and that, and he's done really, really well at Ajax. He's obviously the CEO at Ajax is Edwin van der Sar. Yeah, and also give you the latest news about David De Gea. So now we could lose David De Gea on a free at the end of this season. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.